John Lusk here of Lusk Archery Adventures. Serious testing, successful hunting. There's no question about it. The longer you stay on stand, the greater your chances of seeing animals. But when the temperatures really start to drop, that gets super challenging. Man, it's hard enough to overcome the boredom of sitting on the stand for hours on end, or to overcome the discomfort of sitting in one little chair all that time. But when the wind starts to blow and the temperatures really start to get low, that challenge increases exponentially. I've learned that all too well since moving here to Iowa a few years ago. Man, it gets really cold here in Iowa. And so I want to share with you some of the tactics that I use and some of the gear and some of the clothing that I use that have allowed me to stay on stand from dark till dark, regardless of the temperature. It's really freeing to know that no matter what the temperature is, no matter what the conditions are like, I can stay on stand comfortably as long as I want. So I want to share with you some of those tips, some of those tactics, some of those gear choices here today. It all starts with using a high quality base layer. In the past, I made the mistake of using cotton or polyester only to find myself freezing on stand. Nowadays, I only use merino wool. It's the only thing that touches my skin. Merino wool has a natural ability to resist scent buildup. It has a natural antimicrobial characteristic to it, as well as it regulates your temperature extremely well and wicks away moisture very well and dries really fast. My favorite is Kuyu. They make really high quality base layers. But in addition to that, I found that if I go on Sierra Trading Post, they have some incredible closeout sales where I can stock up on all kinds of merino wool base layers. And it doesn't matter what color it is because it's going to be a base layer anyway. Nothing's going to see it. So make sure you have really high quality base layers. Next is your outer layer. And it starts with having a really good quality pants, okay? You can use pretty much anything for pants. I want to make sure it's something quiet, and I prefer something with a DWR, a durable water repellent finish to it to prevent moisture if I sit down in something wet or if it rains a little bit here. Here's the Kuyu pants, and I am loving the new Velo camo that they came out with. This pattern is perfect for the Midwest, okay? I really like it. So you got a good solid pant that's a little heavier than just kind of like blue jeans would be. And then for a jacket, I love this guide jacket that I use. That is just a soft shell jacket. It's water repellent in case there's like a little bit of a shower, I'm fine. And I can put a lot of layers underneath it. Based on the temperature, I can put a puffy jacket underneath it, or I really like using a vest. This is a down vest I got used on a rock slide forum or something like that for really cheap. And I love using that because it allows my arms to be able to have a lot of freedom. It doesn't restrict my arms. But with these basic outers in these pants, and then this jacket, and with some other layers and the base layers, I know I'm good at about 40 degrees on up. So if the temperature, if I look at it in the morning, it's going to be 40 degrees on up, then I know I'm set with this. I can put some extra layers on underneath it, but that's all I need. When the temperatures go below 40, then I know I'm going to have to pull out the bibs and jacket. Bibs are a game changer. I don't know why I didn't use bibs many years ago, but they make a huge difference because what they do is they eliminate that seam at the base of your back where your pants and your shirt or your jacket kind of meet. There's a seam there and a lot of heat gets lost there through your kidneys and you get really cold. But bibs just like cover that entire area. And so they go all the way up to your chest, and there's just no seam there. So I have two different sets of bibs that I use. If the temperature is going to be in like the high 20s, the 30s, then in addition to the stuff that I just showed you, those pants and those base layers, then I carry a set of bibs. Now, I never wear these to the stand, but I put them on at the stand because I don't want to sweat walking in. And this is a basic bottom and then top. These are both from Cabela's. They're actually really inexpensive. At least they were for me. I got them at the end of the season closeout sale. I don't even know what they're called. They're just a dry plus waterproof and just basic model of bibs, but they really keep me warm. Temperature in the 30s, I'm good to go with these. Now, if the temperature drops below 30, if it gets down to like 15 to 30, then I'm going with this set of bibs, okay? This is also from Cabela's. It's a little bit more expensive than these, but it's a lot less expensive than the models made by Sitka or First Light or a few others, and yet it's really great stuff. This is their Instinct Stand Hunter bibs and jacket. It's super quiet. It's water resistant, waterproofed. Even the seams are taped waterproof. Very, very warm. So I got the coat as well as the pants, the bib bottoms, and man, I can stay on stand very comfortably with some layers under that, again, down to about 15 degrees. Matter of fact, this morning I went out hunting. I was out there for 6 hours on stand. The wind chill was 5, okay, 5 degrees, and I sat there toasty warm using these bibs. Okay, now if the temperature is below 15 degrees, especially if it's really windy and really, really cold, then I go with the nuclear option, and that is the IWAM bodysuit. These things are incredible. Talk about a game changer. I went out last year here in Iowa. The temps were like below 0, and I sat there dark till dark in this thing, and man, I was like a sauna inside there. Was extremely comfortable. It's basically just like a giant sleeping bag that you wear, okay? It goes over your feet are locked inside, but it has arms, and so your arms can move fine, and actually even with the feet covered, you can move around fine if you use like hiking boots or something inside of it. And what it does is it just allows no heat to escape. It's just kind of one self-contained unit, completely waterproof, has all kinds of different features and pockets. Very, very comfortable and very warm. No matter what the temperature here in Iowa, if it's really, really low, I know I can sit comfortably dark till dark wearing the IWAM, especially if I layer underneath it and then if I use hand warmers. I love just throwing several hand warmers down in the bottom. That's what I did last year on that really cold day I was talking about. I put 7 hand warmers down in the bottom, and it just traps all that heat and just goes throughout the entire body suit, so you just stay incredibly warm. The IWAM is an incredible piece of gear. The older I get, the colder my feet get. I don't know what it is, but it's just one of those aging things. When I was younger, I could sit out on stand and my toes never got cold. Now it's not even that cold outside and my toes are just freezing. And that makes sitting on stand miserable. So I found a game changer in the Arctic Shield boot covers. For a boot, I like to use an insulated rubber boot, like a muck boot or a lacrosse Alpha Burley or something like that. And then I only use merino wool socks. And just a tip about that, I wear one pair of socks walking to my stand, but when I get to my stand, I take those socks off, shove them way down in my pack, usually put them in a Ziploc bag just to keep the scent away, and then I put on 2 fresh pairs of socks because I want my feet super dry. That little bit of moisture that builds up walking in, especially if you're using rubber boots, can make your toes really cold. So I put on a couple pairs of socks, and then I put these boot covers, once I get to my stand, over my boot. I like to use the extra large so there's plenty of room, and I just put them over my boot. And then the real game changer is I put a few hand warmers inside of this on top of my boot. So inside the Arctic Shield and outside of my boot. I used to use the toe warmers inside of my boot, but a lot of times they just stop working because they're not getting enough air circulation. But in these, they get plenty of circulation. So I can sit on stand, again, no matter what the temperature, and my toes are gonna be warm and toasty. If they start to get cold, I just throw another hand warmer inside of this, this boot cover, and I'm good to go. These are a real game changer. Next is your head covering. I've heard it said that you can lose about 40% of your body heat just through your head. It's just such a vascular area. There's so much circulation. You can lose a lot of heat that way. So you want to make sure you have a really good head system to cover your head and keep you warm. A lot of times I see people just wearing one basic little stocking cap, and they could be doing so much better. And the cool thing about keeping your head warm is it doesn't interfere with your bowstring or your gun or your arms or anything else. It just doesn't get in the way at all. So I have several different systems that I use. First, I love this little Cabela's neck gaiter. A lot of times you can lose a lot of body heat just by this seam at the back of your neck above your jacket if you're not wearing a hood, and I don't like to wear a hood typically. So you just slide this over and it covers that up, makes a huge difference. And then I like to use a face mask, and I have different ones of different thicknesses based on the temperature. This is just a Cabela's. I don't even know what this is, but it works really well. And so they're quiet. You want to make sure it's quiet. You can breathe through it. I can't cover my nose with it because it'll fog up my glasses. So I keep it like right below my nose, but it really makes a difference having that skin covered up. And it also really keeps the glare down as if a deer looks up at me or something like that, I'm much more camouflaged. And then over that, sometimes I use this thick wool hat. This is really like double thick wool. It makes a big difference having wool like that. And then don't overlook just having a cap, because a lot of times people just wear a hat like this, but then the sun shines and they're caught in a glare, or they're more easily spotted because a deer can see their eyes. But if you have a cap on like that, and then you put this over the cap, it puts a shadow on your face. It gives a little bit more concealment, and it keeps your eyes from getting that glare in the sun. And then when it's really cold, okay, I like to use this as a new thing from Kuiu. It's this bomber style hat, and it goes down like this, and kind of the Elmer Fudd thing. I mean, it goes around your neck and it just keeps you super, super warm. Or if you're getting a little too warm, you just wrap it up on top like that, and Velcros to the top, and then you can just use it like a cap. But make sure you have a really good head covering. Oh, and another thing is, if it's getting really cold, like this morning when I was out there in the 5-degree wind chill, I was getting a little cold, so I took a couple of hand warmers and threw them outside of my mask. I was wearing this mask, but inside of my hat. And so then my head is getting that extra heat put into it. It really keeps me warm. Finally, I want to go through a few miscellaneous items that I use that I've picked up over the years that make a big difference. First of all, when it comes to gloves, I've gone through so many different gloves, from heavily insulated gloves to gloves with hand warmers in them to the mittens that fold back and then you can have your fingers exposed. What I've settled on is using a very lightweight pair of gloves. I really like to use a lightweight pair of gloves so I can feel the bow shot, I can feel my trigger finger. It's really, really helpful to have that kind of dexterity. And I want to make sure that I have something that I can use with my touch screen, so I don't have to take my glove off if I'm going to text or use my phone for some reason. So I like to use a lightweight glove. And then to keep my hands warm, if I don't have a really nice jacket with hand warmer pockets, then I throw this in the pack. And this is just a Cabela's hand warmer, and it really works well. It has a nice pocket. I can keep my rangefinder, my phone in there, put a few hand warmers in there, and man, my hands are like toasty warm with that. Another thing I like is this QAD arm sleeve, because if I'm wearing a bunch of layers and I'm wearing a heavy jacket, or like that IWAM or the Bibs, where the sleeves can get really puffy, then I don't want that to interfere with my bow shot and hit my bowstring. So I just slide one of these QAD arm sleeves. You can get them on QAD, Quality Archery Designs website, and man, they're a game changer. You slide it over and it just compacts everything in, and your string is never going to be hit by your sleeve. Those are really awesome. Okay, then another thing, the hand warmers. I want to show you what kind of hand warmer I like. I've gone through a bunch of different kinds. These are the best, okay? They're Hot Hands Super Warmers. They last up to 18 hours. So that lasts me dark till dark with just one hand warmer like that. And they put out a lot of heat because they're really good size. So I use these for everything. At the start of the year, I buy a whole case on Amazon. Amazon Prime, you even get free shipping. So they're not that expensive. And then I just put one in each pocket, or one in this hand warmer pocket if I'm using that instead. I'll put one or two in each of my Arctic Shield boot covers, maybe throw one in my hat, and man, again, I am toasty warm. And if I'm cold, I just reach in my pack, get a couple extra ones, and put those in there. Your body's always losing heat, and so if you can add some heat to it through these hand warmers, they're really going to help you out. Other little tips is just having snacks, okay? It's hard to sit dark till dark without having some kind of reward program. So I'm like a numbers guy and very organized. So I'll do things like, okay, at 11 o'clock, I get to eat one of my bars. And then at 1 o'clock, I get to eat another one of my bars. And so I kind of pace it out, plus just getting some calories in your system. If you're shivering or just sitting out there in the cold, you're losing a lot of calories, you're burning through a lot of calories. It really helps to warm you up. And then a final thing is having a thermos. If it's really, really cold, then I like to have some hot beverage in here. You can use hot chocolate or hot coffee, or if you're worried about the scent, sometimes I'll just use hot water with some honey in it and just get it super, super hot, get a really good thermos, shove it there in your pack, and it's amazing how much warmer you feel after just having 1 cup of something really hot. The last thing I want to cover here is a backpack. It's really important that you don't wear all of your clothes from your truck to your hunting stand. I know the temptation. You arrive there, it's really dark, you get out of the truck and you're like, man, it's so cold, and you just want to layer on up, put everything on, and walk to your stand. If I do that, I sweat so much, I'm going to get really sweaty, and then I'm going to stink, and then I'm going to freeze. And so the hunt's going to be ruined from the smell, and then I'm going to want to go home because I'm so cold. So what I figured out is I wear the minimal amount of clothing possible to get to my stand. Now it depends on how far I have to walk, but usually I have about a half a mile to walk. So like I shared earlier, it's just 1 pair of socks on the way in that I take off, and I trade out for 2 other pairs. And then I'll use like a 1 base layer bottom and my pants, my outer pants. And then for a top, I'll use like a t-shirt and then maybe 1 other layer of a base layer, and that's it. No hat walking in. And I'm really cold at first, but then carrying this pack that has all my warm clothes in it, it just walking that distance, I really get warm, and I'm fine by the time I get to stand. And once I get to stand, open up my pack, get everything out, layer on up, climb up my tree, and then I'm good to go. So having a really big pack, it can seem like a pain, but you need that to carry all the gear. And the more you can carry, the less you wear, the longer you're going to be able to sit, because you won't overheat and sweat on the way in. I really hope this helps. I hope it helps you to be more comfortable staying out and stand. You know, we hunt for food, and we hunt for conservation. We also hunt just for fun, right? And it's no fun freezing out there. So I hope this helps you to enjoy your hunt more and to be more effective in that hunt. Again, the longer you stay on stand, the greater your chances of seeing animals. Now, maybe you have some other tips or other ideas or other tactics or pieces of gear that you've come to really like. Please comment on those in the comment section. Add them on in here so we can all benefit from each other's experiences. Good luck and stay warm.